Hey everyone! How the heck do you work with people? How the heck do you make comics with other people? I don't know, say you're a writer who needs an artist, or an artist who's looking for a writer to help you make your comic. How the heck do you make that work? How do you collaborate with people? It's hard, man. Trust me, I work with Bones and he's the worst to work with. That's a lie. He's great. He's a very sweet boy. But basically, Bones and I have been working together since 2012. I mean, before then we were working together, but 2012 was when we launched our first comic together. Him doing all the writing, me doing all the art. And it's been a long time since 2012, and it's been really good. Heck yeah. So how have we made this thing work for so long? And on top of that, we're also married. And we were dating even when we started working on comics. So how the heck do you get all that to work? I mean, number one, you don't have to date whoever you're working with. In fact, that's not always a very good idea because you can get feelings involved with the business, and that's just silly if things go bad in the business or in the relationship. So be careful with that. But you'll probably be friends with the people you work with. And I think that's a good starting point. And I think it also can help make things easier. Sometimes it can be harder, but for the most part, it's easier to work with someone that you're friendly with. So, in addition to that, liking the company of the person that you're working with, here's what you can do to make collaborating with that writer or that artist a little more smooth. So, first off, when you are looking for a work partner, it's really important to find someone who has a passion for the same kind of work as you, and someone who also has the same kind of work ethic as you. So, for example, if you're someone who really likes fantasy or like sci-fi comics and stories, and then you meet someone and they really only like doing like very realistic dramas and biographies, you're probably not going to get along. They're probably not going to like what you want to make and what you have to offer, and you're probably not going to like what they have to offer, and you're probably not going to like what they have to offer either. So, find someone who shares your interests. And it can be as broad as like they also like fantasy and sci-fi, but it's usually good if you're into the same kind of like tropes and stories. If you have similar shows or comics or books or whatever that you're into, that's usually a good sign that you're probably into the same kind of stuff. And the second part of that is it's really important to find someone who works at the same pace as you. Or, even better, someone who pushes you to work your best all the time. So, for example, the story I hear most with people I've known who are looking for creative partners, or they have one, but it doesn't work out and the comic never gets made, is usually because one person is really into it and they've written the script or they're really into doing the art, but the other person just doesn't deliver what they're supposed to. Whether it's like they never finish writing their script, or they're always off doing something else instead, or ignoring you, or you've given them the script but they're not doing any artwork, or they're really, really slow to get it done. Like, that can be really frustrating, and that can make a project fail, especially when someone's not doing their end of the work. So what you want to do is you want to find someone who will keep pace with you. So if you're someone who can, you've written your script, admittedly, the writing process is faster than the art process, don't get me wrong. But if you have someone where you're working on the script, they're working on the art, and they're delivering things on time, like no matter which role you're in, if your partner is delivering things and you're both excited about the project and you're talking about it a lot, that's a really good sign. That's a good sign that it's going to work out, because you both are invested in this thing and you're both delivering things. So you got to find someone who wants to create the same art as you and who also can create the stuff with you. So there you go. Now that can definitely feel like trying to find this impossible perfect person, but I'd really just recommend just talking to people, network with other comic creators. A really good sign that someone will keep up the pace with you is if they already have established work out there. Maybe not something they're like posting. I wouldn't go harass someone who's posting a comic and be like, oh, be my art partner or whatever, because they'll probably ignore you. But if you have a friend and they do comics and you also do comics and you like each other's work, perhaps suggest collaborating together. Because that happened with me and Bones. He liked my art, and I liked his writing, and we'd share and swap stuff all the time. So eventually it just turned into working together. And I have other friends who I've talked to, and we've been talking about collaborating for a long time because we both have projects and we both like each other's work. So just make friends with people first, and then when the opportunity arises, then ask about creating a comic together if they seem into it. Don't just go bother people unsolicited, because they'll probably will not get back to you or be mad at you, so be careful with that. Make friends first. So once you found this perfect person, your best friendo who you're gonna work on comics with, the first thing I'd recommend, besides being excited and figuring out what you want your story to be and working on design and writing, etc., I'd recommend making a contract. Now this sounds very scary, especially if you're friends, and you don't want things to get weird or tense, but a contract is very important. For the off chance that something goes wrong down the line, you understand who is in charge of what and who gets what if you ever part ways. So, Bones and I actually had one of these when we started doing comics. We wrote a little contract saying that no matter what, we were always equal parties. So if we ever split, and this was back in high school when we were just kind of dating and friends, and we didn't have a lot invested, but we basically said if we ever split up for whatever reason, if we didn't want to work on comics together, we'd each get 50-50. So if we made any profits off it, we'd split it halvesies. So, and I don't think we wrote anything about finishing the comic, because honestly, it depends on where you are. If the comic never got posted and you never did anything with it, you can probably just drop it and you don't have to finish your work on it. But if it's published and it's almost finished, you might want to work out some clause about what happens at that point. Do you finish it? Do you drop it? What happens? Who gets rights to publish it elsewhere? Whatever that is. Work it out. It can be a very simple contract, just saying who gets what, how are you going to split things up, what parts are people responsible for. Really simple stuff. You don't have to talk to a lawyer or anything. This is more just to keep you, just understand what you're responsible for and an agreement for if things go sour. I think it also helps cement that this is actually going to happen, because if you write down what you're going to do, you can hold each other to it, Not in a mean, vindictive way, more just it's real. You're making it real by writing this thing down. So, moving on from that, when you're working together on your project and, you figured out what you want to do, or you're actually in the process of figuring out what you want to do with your comic, it's really important that you guys communicate to each other. That's just a good piece of advice for any relationship, whether it's working or friendship or romantic. It's just really important that you communicate to each other. If you're someone who, if you're ever in a situation where, maybe you're supposed to be doing the art and you've fallen behind, tell your creative partner. Just say hey, things have come up. I'm not going to be able to work on this for a little while. I need to hold off. And if they're a sweet, kind, understanding person, they'll say, hey, that's cool. Let me know when you're feeling better. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. And in return, you should do the same for them if they ever need help. It's really important that you give the right expectations. Don't overwork yourself. Don't overpromise things, because then you're just going to disappoint yourself. You're going to disappoint the other person. So just always talk about where you're at, whether it's in the work or emotionally, because sometimes you can't work because you're going through emotional stuff. And yeah, just make sure you're always talking. If you're ever frustrated with something, let the other person know. If the other person does something hurtful to you, make sure to let them know, because they might not have intended it. It's just very important and mature to talk to each other about where the work is and where your head is at. Heck yeah. And along the same veins, make sure that you're flexible. That's a really important part of working with people. I think some people get in their head that when you're working on a comic or creative thing, especially if you're the one who came up with the concept for example. Like it's your baby, this comic that you've been dreaming of, and you finally get someone to help you make it happen. I think it's very tempting to like take total control over the project and be like, you have to do it this way and it has to look like this. And that can really scare people away. Honestly, if I ever get work like that, I usually go like, nah, I'm out. I don't want to do this, because it can be really stifling to your creative partner. You know, how are they supposed to put out their best work if there's all these demands on top of it? Or really stringent rules where they can't, you know, show off their style or express themselves creatively and contribute to this creative thing. You know, you don't want to treat your partner as just like a machine who puts out writing or art for you, and you're the I don't know. You know, you're not in control of this whole thing. It's a partnership. It's not a dictatorship, I guess. I don't know. That sounds very harsh, but it's really important to work with each other and let each other's talents shine and complement each other. You know, if you have something in your head and your creative partner says, like, what if we did this instead? I think it'll be cool. Try it out. There's no harm in at least trying what they suggest, and vice versa. So make sure that you are being adaptable and flexible, because you'll get better work out of it and you'll be a lot happier for it if you don't have to fight each other constantly to get work done. And finally, I think it's really important to remember that all of your stuff, whether you're getting like feedback from the other person or you're hashing out ideas, you always have to remember that the work shouldn't be taken so personally. You know, if you get feedback from, say, your artist or your writer, or they critique your work or ask you to do edits, don't take it personally. It's for the benefit of the work. It's not to hurt you. And if you suspect that it's being done to hurt you, definitely break off that partnership and don't work with them. But if they said something completely reasonable and you're feeling personally attacked, even though they're just saying like, hey, I need some edits done on this, there's some little tiny errors in it, don't let that worry you, because that's normal. That happens to everyone. Even masterful artists and writers get their work edited, and as long as you're making sure that like the work is being improved on and you're not actually attacking each other personally, then let it go. Just be good to each other and focus on making your art really great and helping each other out. Because there have been lots of times where Bones and I are working together and I've worked really hard on a page and he'll ask me to make a change. And in the moment, I feel really hurt and I'm like, oh, I worked so hard. Why isn't this good enough? I don't have time to redo it. But then I'll take a step back and I'll take a deep breath and I'll be like, you know what? He's right. This is messy and I need to fix it. And sometimes I need some time to like wait a bit and then go back and fix it. But yeah. Don't take it personally. Always take a step back if things feel really raw, and come back when you're feeling better, and always communicate your feelings to your partner. If you're like, I'm overwhelmed, I can't handle feedback right now, take a break and do it another time. And as always, if things aren't working out with you two, like your partner never delivers, or you keep having fights, or they're displaying like toxic, abusive behavior, just drop the project. Even if you had like a little contract, if you know you haven't started on anything or you haven't posted anything, there's nothing wrong with just backing out and be like, I'm done, I'm out, goodbye. You know, if there's no money involved, it doesn't matter. You can walk away anytime you want. No need to work with someone who is mean or rude, or if it just isn't working. So there you go. I wish you all lots of luck with finding creative partners and with making it work. It's definitely a struggle. Bones and I have had our ups and downs. But overall, making comics is fun. I'm really happy that I found someone I can work with well. And I hope you guys are able to find someone to help you as well, the way Bones helps me. And yeah, good luck. Oh, if you are looking for a creative partner, we do have a Discord server where you can meet people who are also comic artists and writers. And we have a little channel where you can ask if anyone can help you with your work, or maybe you can help someone who's put out an ask in there. Woo! There should be a link down below. Go check it out. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!